Do you want to increase brand awareness, attract new patients immediately and consistently, and become the go-to practice in your community? Then learn how to do ground marketing. That's what I'm going to be teaching you in this series. Let's dive in. Overcoming rejection in ground marketing. Now, rejection is not failure, it's feedback. Every rejection in ground marketing is a data point that tells you something about your approach, your value proposition, or your target audience. And the biggest mistake practice owners and marketing teams make is personalizing rejection rather than seeing it as an opportunity to adjust, refine, and improve. So let's talk about the real reasons rejection happens in ground marketing. Understanding rejection at its core removes the emotional sting and allows you to adjust strategically. So that's why we're going to get down to the real reasons first. Number one, and this one is huge, it happens all the time. Gatekeepers are trained to say no. Now, this is a statistic from the Harvard Business Review. 90% of cold approaches in sales and marketing are met with an initial rejection because gatekeepers have been conditioned to filter out non-essential interactions. So they've been trained on the interactions, what they need to do, and anything else besides that, they're just trained to say no. They don't want to mess up. And a lot of the times in ground marketing, I want to say this is like above 90%. The reason you get no is because of this, mainly because you're speaking to the wrong person first and foremost. So if you do your strategy or your script and you talk to the gatekeeper, they consider that interaction most likely a non-essential. They're like, I don't know what's happening. What do I do? This is above my pay grade. No, I think I've spoken about this in the past many times, but I remember when I wanted to ground market and provide a specific service and get in front of a lot of the warehouse members at a Walmart center. It's like a Walmart distribution center. It wasn't an actual Walmart. Huge, thousands of employees. And I tried getting in many times and I would ask to speak to HR, human resources. Can I speak to HR? Can I speak to HR? That's just me thinking, right? Common sense. HR would tell me no. I would get their voicemail a lot and still a no. And it wasn't until I spoke to someone who was pretty awesome at HR and they said, oh, we don't handle that. We only handle the front end of Walmart, like the actual store. You want to speak to the logistics center. Let me transfer you. They transferred me to the logistics center. And then I just said, hey, can I speak to someone there who's in charge of maybe HR or maybe they're your supervisor? They passed me to the supervisor. And guess what? Within the first just ask, I said, hey, I'd love to see if I can provide more services. Could we do like a lunch and learn, like an event for the day? They're like, yeah, sure. Come on by. We'd love to have that. It was a lot, thousands of employees, but it worked. But it's because I was speaking to the wrong person from the get-go. And you can just give up from that point on and then say, okay, it doesn't work to get into the warehouse or distribution center at Walmart. But it does. It does. As long as you're speaking to the right person first and foremost. And then from that point on, it continues. So here, it's gatekeepers are trained to say no. And that's a good example. That gatekeeper was the wrong person first and foremost to speak with. And at the same time, all they know is just to say no if they don't know anything else. So the solution is you want to bypass the auto rejection by making your presence non-threatening and value-driven. So instead of selling, introduce yourself in a way that benefits them immediately. This is going to disrupt their autopilot rejection and gets them to lower their guard. So number two, the lack of perceived immediate benefit. Now, this is a statistic by Salesforce Research. 72% of decision makers only engage in partnerships they perceive as immediately beneficial to their customers or employees. So the solution? Tie your offer or your approach directly to their top priorities. You're going to have to do a little research for that. Number three, fear of extra work or change. This is a statistic by the McKinsey and Company Group, and it's 85% of businesses avoid change unless it's easy to implement and requires little to no effort on their part. The solution? Make it effortless for them to say yes. And four, they've had a bad experience with another dentist. This is a statistic by the American Marketing Association, but 76% of businesses that reject a partnership do so because of past negative experiences with similar offers. The solution? Address this head on. Now, we're going to dive into some scripts right now, okay, on how to do this. So how to make businesses want to work with you without ever talking about yourself first. That's the key. You don't want to go in there and saying, hey, we're the new person down the street. Hey, does anybody here need a dentist? Hey, we're taking on new patients. That's all you. That's the mistake you're making already, if you are making that. You want to walk in without ever talking about you first. So these scripts, they're going to trigger curiosity, establish trust, and subtly make businesses feel like they owe you something. Reciprocity. Remember, that's one of the principles in ground marketing without ever pitching your dental practice up front. So number one, we used to do this all the time. It's the coffee drop. And this is for any business with a gatekeeper. This is an in-person strategy. Okay. So the target is any business with a front desk staff. It could be gyms, daycares, retail stores, even corporate offices. And the goal is to warm up the gatekeeper, disrupt their automatic no, and create an opening for future interactions. Now, the script is the first visit, you're disrupting the automatic no. You're walking in, maybe with a coffee holder and a smile or just a coffee in hand, and you're saying, hey, how's it going? Yeah, I know you're busy. I just wanted to see if you guys wanted some free coffee, actually. No strings attached. We just appreciate everything you all do here. And our practice does a kind deed every day for a business in our community. The gatekeeper is going to say, oh, yeah, wow, thank you so much. I appreciate it. What's your business? Where are you located? Who are you? Right? They may even say no. If they say no, that's perfectly fine. They're still going to ask, who are you? And then you're just going to shrug casually and just say, I just know that the front desk teams keep business running, and I know we appreciate our front desk, and I wanted to show you that today, and continue. Right now, not only do they have their guard down, but they feel, oh man, this person really understands what I'm going through. Maybe they might be having a bad day that day, and you are the sunshine that just came in. But this works because gatekeepers lower their defenses when they see that you're giving, not taking. Reciprocity kicks in. They feel inclined to engage. They will engage no matter what. Even if they say no, they'll say, oh, wow, thank you. No, I appreciate that thing. It'll be just as good as if you did bring them their coffee. And then they associate you with positivity, making future conversations much easier. So once that happens, let's just say you just established it. You're like, okay, cool. After that, you leave. You don't feel like poking the bear or anything like that because maybe they're busy. They're talking to someone. You just drop off your coffee. At least you have a second date now. You can follow up and say, hey, last time I was here, I meant to ask, do y'all do any events for the employees here? Remember, they associate you with positivity. Your future conversation is happening right now. And now it's easy for you to ask, hey, do y'all do anything for your employees here? Do y'all have an employees benefits day, a health fair? Could we do something like that? Do y'all have a employee wellness month in the newsletter? You can ask anything at this point on your next visit. Now they're sharing their business and you can strategically introduce your practice. Okay, so that's like a 1-2 step. That happened all the time. And it took me a while to realize it's a 1-2 step. I would come in all the time. Hey, I love what you guys are doing here. If you want, go into the coffee shop right next door from you. Do y'all want anything? Yeah, sure. I love that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate it though. Okay. I just know you guys are super busy. And sometimes I know our front office is like, I wish I had a coffee right now. And I'm just thinking about you guys. So that's all. We tend to do a kind deed for a business out here every day. And you're like, oh man, well, who's your front office? Where are you from? Where are you located? Right. And then you kind of continue to talk more. And you can actually at that moment, even if they say no, still do the ask, right? Do y'all do any events for the employees here and so forth? But a lot of the times they might get busy. The phone may ring, whatever, right? Then you can just say, okay, bye, boom. And then they'll know, wow, he was literally just asking me for if I wanted free coffee and that was it. That was awesome. And come back in a day or two and then say, hey, real quick, I wanted to come by and see if you guys do any events for the employees. I meant to ask you that. I forgot. Sorry. Easy breezy. They'll be super open from that. Okay. Now, number 2, the customer referral play. This is for gyms, salons, and wellness centers. The target is businesses that benefit from having more customers. Make them see you as a referral source before they realize they can refer people to you. And the script is, you're going to walk in casually, creating curiosity, right? You're going to say, hey, I've been hearing some great things about you guys. And a couple of my patients have been talking about how much they love coming here. So I figured I'd stop in and see what the buzz is all about. They're going to be intrigued. They're going to say, oh, really? That's great to hear. And they might talk a little bit more. Then you say, yeah, they were raving about a specific service that they provide. And then you're going to say, I get a lot of people asking me for recommendations on places like this. So I just wanted to check it out for myself. What makes this place stand out? And then you continue, right? Now that's the key right there. I get a lot of people asking me for recommendations on services or places like this. They don't know if it's just one person who asked you or a million people who asked you. They just see, oh, wow, this is a referral source. They can provide me with a lot of customers or whatever, right? And this works because they now see you as a referrer first, not someone trying to sell them something. Second is curiosity builds. They want to explain why they're great. So make sure you ask what makes this place stand out. Third, they will naturally ask what you do, making it easy to bring up your practice organically. Without fail, 1,000%. When you say, I get a lot of people asking me for recommendations, especially you say a lot of our patients ask us about recommendations on places like this or your services, 1,000% they will ask you, what do you do? Or where are you located? Now you can follow up before leaving. You want to use reciprocity to get a referral, right? You can continue to say, I love what you guys are doing here. Do you have anything I can give to my patients in case they're looking for, and then mention a service, right, that they offer? And they're going to get you a folder filled of stuff, their business cards. And we both know those business cards that they have are just sitting in the back collecting dust. But now they have a reason to give it to you. So don't feel bad or don't feel like, oh man, just give me one. If they want to give you 100, let them give you 100. Don't feel bad about it. Most likely they'll give you like 10 or 20, but you could put them in hygiene kits if you want. You can feature a month or whatever, but that is your opportunity for the follow-up ask, right? Where you're like, hey, could I ever bring you guys any of our information as well? And then boom, they feel obligated to ask for your info in return, or they will feel obligated to take your info in return without even actually feeling obligated. It's just a nice deed, right? So that's the number 2. Number 3, the secret shopper play for retail and local businesses. Now, the target is mainly coffee shops, retail stores, boutiques, things like that. And the goal is to make them feel like a VIP and subtly position yourself as someone who sends them customers. Walk in with genuine curiosity, and then you're going to create exclusivity. You're going to say, hey, I was just over at, and then continue with saying, and they mentioned that this is the best place in town for, mention a specific product or service. So now I have to see for myself how incredible this place is. And then stop there. They're going to say, oh, wow, thank you. Yeah, we love doing business with them, or we like them too, or who mentioned it over there? And you're just going to be like, I don't remember their name, right? And then continue with it. You're going to say, oh, wow, that's great to hear. I think people love us because, and then they're going to mention reasons too. Then you say, yeah, that makes sense. I feel like more people should know about this. Do you guys ever do collaborations with other local businesses? Now, boom, they're either going to say, yes, we do, or no, we don't. If they say, yes, we do, cool, can I participate? If they say, no, we don't, oh man, we always do collaborations with other types of businesses. Would you ever be interested in doing one? Then they're going to say yes, right? Yeah, we've been thinking about it, and so forth. It works because you make them feel special. They now associate you with bringing them business, and they start thinking about partnerships before you even mention your practice. So they're already thinking of partnerships. Yeah, you know what? I can definitely do a partnership. We've thought of doing a partnership, but let's make something happen. And later in the conversation, you can follow up. You can say, I love supporting local businesses like yours. If you ever want to do something fun together, I'd be all in. Actually, you know what? We're only picking 3 businesses this quarter for a free wellness initiative. Could I save you a spot? Boom, right then and there, right? You're already creating a partnership, a collaboration. It's going to be happening. And then once they say yes, as you're leaving, you can say, hey, could I ever give you some more information too as well, right? That way you can look us up a little bit more for your customers and then just provide them with more things. It doesn't hurt to do that. But this gives them a sense of being afraid of missing out, especially if you say, we're only picking 3 businesses this quarter for a free wellness initiative. Should I save you a spot? The number 4, the business insider play. This is for corporate offices and HR managers. Now, the goal is to make them feel like an exclusive insider in their own company. You're going to walk in with an observational comment, and you're going to use the fear of extra work to your advantage, right? You're going to walk in and say, I was just talking to someone who works here, and they were raving about what a great place this is to work. So I had to stop by and see for myself. What do you guys specialize in? Boom. They're going to say, oh, wow, that's so great to hear. We really focus on, boom, right? They may ask, oh, who are you speaking with? And then say, you know what? I can't think of their name right now, but they were super excited about it. And then mention equality. They were super excited about it. They were really warm. They were awesome. They were talking it up. And I was like, man, I got to go check this place out. And so forth. Once they say, you know what, we really focus on, and then they're going to mention their company culture, you're going to say, that makes a lot of sense. So if someone was new here and wanted to make the most of their experience, what's the one thing they should know about this place? And then they're going to mention their specific things about their corporation and so forth. And it works because you instantly build trust because you're not pitching anything. They see you as someone who understands their culture, and they will start seeing you as an insider, making them more likely to say yes later. Now, a follow-up move you can have later in the conversation is, I love hearing about workplaces that actually care about their employees. Do you all do any cool perks for your team? If you mention, oh my gosh, I love hearing how you guys take care of your employees and everything you've taken into consideration for them and their needs. Do y'all do anything for your team, for your employees? Do you have any cool perks? Do you do a health and wellness day? I don't know, something like that, right? But just the best thing you can say is, do you all do any cool perks for your employees, for your team? And then they're going to let you know everything they do. Now, you can do two things. You can say, oh, what would it cost, or how can I be a part of any of that? And just hand out everybody some freebies too. And then they're going to ask, well, what do you do? And so forth, right? And then boom, it'll be easy breezy from there. So you can do that, or you can say, oh, okay, cool, awesome. Could we ever host something here? We have quite a bit of patience, and I know a lot of your employees have questions about some specific procedures that we offer. Then they're going to ask, oh, okay, well, what do you do? And then you can continue, and boom, you might be able to host your own event. So those are the two things you can do, right? Participate in one of their events, or host your own event with them, or provide some type of perk for their team. If you want all the strategies, everything that revolves around ground marketing, you want to learn how to get into apartments, corporations, senior homes, daycare, schools, restaurants, hotels, spas, gyms, every single location you can think of, and we continue to add into it, by the way, this course, then definitely join the ground marketing course. I'm going to put a link to it in the show notes below. You can go ahead and check it out, see everything that you can learn, gain, and at the same time, how it can improve your practice and your life. Not only will you attract new patients immediately, but also you'll be known as the go-to practice in your community. But if you want to learn all that, go in the show notes below, click on the first link in the show notes below. It's the ground marketing course. Go ahead and join it, and I look forward to seeing you in there. Now, the final takeaway for this is flip rejections into wins by controlling the narrative. Most businesses reject partnerships not because they don't need them, but because they fear extra work, competition, or wasted effort. So by using curiosity, reciprocity, and effortless value, you position yourself as an ally, not a solicitor. So remember, the key thing is give before asking, create exclusivity so they feel grateful to work with you, and make your offer seem like a zero effort perk rather than a commitment. Now, the chapter 2 of this, we're going to discuss the psychological breakdown of rejection types, right? So rejection is not a one size fits all. Each type requires a custom response. So I know what you're thinking with the scripts that you heard. You're like, oh man, I'm just going to use that one script sometimes for all the rejections. And you cannot, right? We've discovered this the hard way. There's about 3 types of rejections in the ground marketing scenario. Number 1 is the reflexive no. It's an automatic rejection. The cause is an automatic response. They're not even listening to you. An example, no, we don't allow soliciting, right? You just walk in. The solution is interrupt the pattern. And it works because it disrupts their automatic no response and forces them to reconsider. Like the coffee drop example. You're walking in, you're giving them coffee, that's it. And then once they say no, or maybe they might say yes, right? And continue on with their day, you can come back and they're used to it. Oh man, you're here again. What's up? It disrupts their no, and they will be more open to you providing more information. They're going to ask more information about you. It's one of the best ones. Number 2 is the cautious no. This one's a trust barrier. They don't fully trust your offer yet, or they don't trust you yet. The solution is remove competition from the conversation. You're not replacing their current provider, you're adding value. So remember that. And then number 3 is the busy no. And that's a timing issue. They're overwhelmed and don't have the bandwidth for your offer. They say, not now, we're swamped. So the solution, acknowledge their situation and ask for something quick. You respect their time, making them more receptive later. So there is a 3-step rejection counterattack framework. That's chapter 3 here, right? Every rejection is an opportunity to refine your strategy. Number 1, you want to pause and acknowledge the objection. Why this step is critical. Psychological insight, right? People feel validated when their concerns are acknowledged. The next thing is when you resist the urge to argue or sell, it disarms their resistance. And then you acknowledge them. Acknowledgement lowers their defenses, making them more likely to reconsider. Now, this is a statistic by the Harvard Business Review, but 67% of people are more likely to continue a conversation if their concerns are first validated instead of immediately countered. So let me give you an example of something wrong. The business says, we already have a dentist we refer to. And you say, oh, you have them, but we're way better than them. This is wrong. You've now positioned yourself as a competitor, making them defend their existing partnership, and it puts them on the defensive, making it less likely they'll engage. The right response would be, oh, yeah, I totally get that. That's incredible. A lot of businesses I talk to say the same thing. And then you continue, right? It works because you validate their decision. They don't feel like they have to defend it. You keep the conversation open instead of shutting it down, and it makes them more willing to listen to what you have to say next. You can follow up with that sentence by saying, hey, out of curiosity, what do your employees love most about that partnership? Boom. And you continue the conversation, and then you find the cracks, and then you see where you can be the solution to those pain points. Now you've turned their rejection into a conversation starter. Next, you want to pivot to a value-first approach. This step is critical. When people feel they are gaining something rather than being sold something, they are far more likely to engage. If rejection doesn't come with a loss, they are more open to new possibilities. A Salesforce research statistic says 83% of people are willing to listen if they see an immediate low-effort benefit. So let me give you the wrong way to do this. The business says, we're not interested. And then you say, well, let me just explain why our practice is different. That's going to fail. They don't care about you yet. They care about what they gain. So you're trying to overcome the rejection instead of pivoting the conversation. So the right response is, if they say, we're not interested, you're going to say, totally fine. By the way, do you guys ever do anything for the employee wellness days? And they're going to say, employee wellness days? No, not really. What are you talking about? Why? And you're going to say, no reason. Just have something that might be cool for your team. And I can drop it off next time if you like. This works. You shift away from your offer and make it about them instead. You create curiosity, making them more open to your next visit. And you frame yourself as someone bringing value, not pitching a service. Once they engage, you now have a chance to build value naturally. And then the final thing is you can follow up in a non-threatening way, right? In value-driven way. 80% of sales require at least 5 follow-ups, yet only 8% of salespeople persist past the first rejection. Following up is key with any marketing in general, but especially with ground marketing. You've got to follow up. Life happens to many people. You need to follow up. The key to successful follow-ups is making them feel effortless and organic. The key mistake people make is they never follow up or they follow up too aggressively. So let me give you an example of a wrong way. Maybe you're returning in 2 weeks and you say, hey, I just wanted to check back and see if you're ready to start referring patients to us. That's going to fail you. They immediately feel like they're being sold something and it's all about you, not about them. The right way is, hey, I was in the area and I figured I'd drop off a few of these free hygiene kits or a few of these free travel hygiene kits for your team. Just a little something to say thanks for all you do. That's it. The business is going to say, oh, wow, thanks. That's really nice of you. And you're going to say, no problem at all. And by the way, I saw something the other day that reminded me of our last conversation. Mind if I ask you a quick question? This works because if you give them something before they're asking for anything, it feels natural, not like a sales follow-up, and it creates an opportunity for a real conversation. You can follow up by saying, by the way, if any of your customers ever need a good dentist, let me know. I'd be happy to take care of them. Or you can present them with a specific offer or new patient exam or whatever, incentive, right? Now they are offering to refer people to you, which is the key. That's what you want. And there's many, many other things we can do, right? Rejection doesn't mean never. It means not yet. The key is knowing how to change the dynamics of the interaction so that the business sees you as a valuable partner instead of a solicitor. We can leverage reciprocity, the psychology of reciprocity, and it works fantastic, right? And a way you can do this the right way is maybe you're targeting a gym that initially rejected your partnership. Now, if that happens, you can say, hey, I was grabbing some snacks from my office and figured your team could use a little fuel. I know how hard you guys work here, so I just wanted to say thanks. And then hand them over some bottled waters and protein bars. Staff is going to say, oh, wow, that's so nice of you. Thank you. You didn't have to do that. You're going to say in a nonchalant way, it's no big deal. I love what you guys are doing here. Actually, quick question. Do you ever run into members asking about teeth grinding or jaw pain? And then this is going to work, right? Or their cosmetics or teeth whitening. Now, this works because you're giving before asking, triggering the psychological need to reciprocate. It doesn't feel salesy, makes them more likely to engage, and the question naturally transitions into your services without being pushy. So works fantastic. You can also use tactics like scarcity and urgency as well, right? You can say, hey, we're only selecting 3 businesses this quarter for our no-cost wellness initiative. I mean, I know you guys have such a great team. I love to include you. Can I save a spot for you? That's one. And there's many, many more, right, that you can adjust to in this scenario, which is going to be done in a later episode. How we can go to businesses that maybe perhaps we messed up before we started listening to these episodes. And we said, oh man, they've already told us no, they've already rejected us, they've even like kicked us out. How you can turn that around and now go into these businesses and fix it and create strong partnerships. So that's going to be an episode later down the road, but it's turning around rejections, which is a lot easier than you think. Now, I'm going to give you a case study on rejections and how it worked, specifically with corporate office rejection, right? So there was a business that immediately rejected a proposal for an in-office dental screening. And instead of walking away, the dentist, they emailed HR with a customized dental wellness month proposal focusing on how it could help employees with stress-related dental issues. By the way, in the ground marketing course, we are about to drop how to do this, how to email HR with a customized dental wellness month proposal. And then in the course as well, it's going to break down the SOP, the standard operating procedure, and the system on how to effectively host a dental wellness month with a corporate office. Fantastic. I'm excited for it. It's something we've done a lot, but it's going to be in the course coming up here probably by the time this episode drops. So we're excited for that. So if you're not a part of the ground marketing course, please feel free to go in the show notes below. Click on the first link in the show notes below to enroll into the ground marketing course. You'll get all these strategies and way more specific in-depth scripts and strategies, and this too as well, the dental wellness month proposal. But at the same time, you'll get a lot of these live ground marketing workshops with myself. But if you are a member of the ground marketing course, look out for that. It's coming up right here pretty soon. So get excited. Now, the next thing is reframe the event as an exclusive benefit rather than a vendor service, and then offer a small, no pressure introduction, just a free guide and hygiene kits for employees. The results were amazing with this member. HR approved the wellness initiative after seeing it framed as an employee benefit. Over 50 employees signed up for screenings within the first month, and the company now offers the dentist services as a permanent employee perk. The lesson: if they reject you in person, pivot to the email and make it a tailored offer that fits their priorities. That's what was happening here. The business immediately rejected the proposal in person, but then the email is what got it, is what took it, right? So a good takeaway from this episode is rejections are simply missed connections. You can turn them into opportunities by giving before asking, reciprocity, right? Creating urgency and exclusivity, scarcity, finding an insider to advocate for you. You have an internal champion, and reframing your offer to match their priorities, customization. So definitely keep this in mind. These scripts are going to be fantastic. There's more scripts that are going to be in the ground marketing course, like a general approach. I want to refer my patients to you. I want to support your members. I want to help your families. I love to support your customers. I want to help your students, getting them to promote you. These scripts are going to be inside the ground marketing course as well under this specific unit. But yeah, if you're not a part of the ground marketing course, like I said, definitely go in the show notes below, click on the first link and see everything it has to offer. And if you are a member of the ground marketing course, I'm excited to talk to you in the next live ground marketing workshop. And look out for the dental wellness month proposal, the email, and the actual SOP for that you can start implementing and utilizing soon. All right. In the next episode, we will be discussing leveraging community events for maximum impact. Talk to you soon.